Stroke. In a few moments, a life is changed. Stroke is the leading cause of adult disability in Canada. There are more than 9,000 stroke survivors in the Southwest alone. Many stroke survivors are never able to go back to their homes and communities. More than 85% of those who do live with some limitations.
When I first had my stroke, I couldn't speak at all. The girls at Parkwood were good, and they worked hard with me, but I wasn't up and running, or up and walking even, really, when I went to extended care. I always intended to go home, just didn't know if I could or not.
A new service in the Southwest is designed to help stroke survivors like Betty to stay in their own homes and communities and reach their full potential for recovery. There are 3 community stroke rehab teams, one each covering Thames Valley, Huron-Perth, and Grey Bruce counties. Each team consists of a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, speech-language pathologist, therapeutic recreation specialist, a registered nurse, a social worker, and 2 rehabilitation therapists.
One of the advantages of having access to a service like this is that if you've got a patient and they're in inpatient rehabilitation and they're getting to a point where they can go home, but you're concerned they're not going to get adequate therapy, you may keep them in hospital longer, and that's very, very expensive, and that's really where the system is really struggling right now, because we keep people in hospital probably longer than we necessarily have to, because we don't necessarily have the resources to get them back home quick enough. Mm-hmm. As well, it's been shown with outpatient services that patients don't tend to end up coming back to hospital as often. So they're more likely to be maintained in their own home, and so you're not likely to end up and emerge with a pneumonia or having a fall or whatever. Mm-hmm. That ends up getting them readmitted and becomes very expensive to the system.
A key focus of the program is individualized in-home therapy.
I think the overwhelming response we get from the patients, they seem to be very happy, and I think they seem to like the creative ideas that we come up with to deliver the therapy. We have our core groups of therapists, our physiotherapists, our occupational therapists, our speech-language pathologists, and we had a whole kind of gamut of individuals that come in and they're doing their therapies, and what we can do is combine it together. And for example, by using a rehab therapist, we come in and we kind of take a little bit of each and combine it all into one session, so we get the best of many worlds. So for example, here today, we were doing a little bit of the occupational therapy, which was Betty moving about the kitchen and so on, and she was baking and doing some day-to-day activities. You might not have seen it, but we actually had a bit of input from this, which was from our physiotherapist, which was the standing part and the mobility and moving around and the safety. We were doing that as well. We had a bit of input, which was from our speech-language pathologist, which was talking and the communicating while we're doing some of these tasks, encouraging Betty to speak and to talk. And so we all get together and we come up with an individualized plan for each of our survivors. We go through and we developed a very personalized plan, and each therapist involved is providing input into the treatment plan. The difference is it's much easier to say, for example, to have a rehab therapist and then 5 different therapists in doing 5 different therapies. So everybody's still involved, and those components are still very important to Betty's rehab, but it's just a different way of delivering it to the patient.
I think they are really good. That Rob and Fabian have worked really hard with me, and I'm sure I wouldn't be on my feet now if it wasn't for them.
Stroke survivors can become socially isolated, so the teams offer informal group programs that provide therapy and support.
You feel after a stroke very isolated and very depressed, and even to get out and to meet other people in the same situation, that's what the recreational therapist has done. It's all part of healing.
Great. So how are you going to be talking about that?
Eleanor?
Yeah.
250.
25.
Good trying. Good trying. You almost had. You had the 2 there. That 50 was tricky. So they come and they practice their speech. It gives them a safe spot where everyone knows about their difficulties, and we practice strategies to help them communicate more effectively with other people. We created this group in hopes that it'll be continued, and hopefully we can get some volunteers involved in running it so that it'll continue forever.
By providing a full range of rehabilitation services at home and in the community, the program not only helps stroke survivors stay at home, it even allows those who have been institutionalized to get home again.
Well, I had a stroke. Well, that kind of immediately alters your life as what you can do and what you can't do, and as it turned out, I couldn't do much.
He was living at Sunnyside Beach, R1 Meaford, and we took him on as a client at that time. We did provide some homemaking, and we were getting reports that he wasn't doing well. And he did decide that we should complete the placement papers for Meaford Nursing Home, and he remained at the nursing home until I heard from the team, from the stroke team, saying Ray now is ready to leave the nursing home and wants to live independently. And I was really reluctant at that time because it was such a big step again for him to be in the community. So now that we have the stroke team, they can come on board once the person has become a little bit more established at home. And a real plus with them is they have a fairly comprehensive team in that they even have a recreational therapist to reintegrate the client into the community.
Each personalized care plan is based on what the individual client wants to achieve.
With Ned, we came in and he really wanted to be able to be walking out in the community without the assistance of an aide. As well, he wanted to get back to playing the fiddle. We worked on balance, we worked on some of his walking. Ned's able to get around now without the use of a cane or anything, especially in the home. And as well, the hand and arm function was quite low.
The Seaforth Tuesday Tunes program is one of the many creative ways the program gets clients engaged in their community again.
This therapy is so real. It's real life, it's day-to-day activities. Some of the clients, we're able to do the physiotherapy exercises on their front steps or the steps of the post office, exercising and working on that, so they're able to be reintegrated into the community easily. And that's very unique that we're doing the therapy while they're living their lives in their homes and in their communities.
The Community Stroke Rehab Team program is working. A recent study showed that clients made and sustained significant gains in functional independence. They had fewer symptoms of depression and needed less caregiver help.
Back to all the ones that came here were very good people, and they helped me a lot. I know they did. At first you don't think you get help, but you know darn well you do, and they made me better to go out in public and meet people. It was good. It was a good, positive experience.